think I know what you're going to be eating for dinner tonight, and it has to do with these scallops. Now,
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people will think scallops and then they are a little bit scared of doing scallops because it feels like you have to pay a lot of attention to the cook time, and you do.
Yes.
However, we're going to make this recipe in real time, and you'll see how quickly it can be done.
Very simple, very quick. And this is the thing with scallops, they're so expensive, it almost feels like a special thing, like you're on a date or something, right? It's like,
yeah.
I'm going to impress somebody. I mean, there's different types of scallops as well.
Okay.
So here we've got bay scallops. These are really tender, they're very gorgeous, but you know, they're kind of cheap and they're kind of for bouillabaisse. Yeah, like,
okay.
like, you know what I mean? It's like...
They're small.
They're small. They don't really make for a larger dish, right?
Okay.
So this is more like for the mother-in-law coming over. Okay? Just saying. She's lovely, they're nice, it's all good, right? And then we got like, this is what you call a 20-40. So the counts on them when you're looking at the grocery store, that means there's 20 to 40 of them in a pound.
Oh, okay.
Right? Where these would be like 80 to 100.
Yes.
Now this is a little bit more expensive. So this is a nice looking scallop, but this is really going to cook in like 1 minute.
Okay.
Like almost too quick.
Yeah.
And then you have the diver dry scallop.
That's the good one.
U10, so there's under 10 per pound. Crazy expensive. Only invite somebody you want to impress or you want something out of them for dinner because it's an investment, right? So I need you to just like salt and pepper the big scallops for me, please, Chase.
Because we're gonna be using the non-mother-in-law ones.
Yes, see, like I'm trying to impress.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
That's what it is.
Got it.
You can come over for dinner anytime you want. I'll serve you scallops. There's no problems there.
Do you want any more?
Yeah, give it a good one. There you go. And this is all it takes. So a little bit of salt and pepper. And then what we're going to do, these are dry scallops. So they don't, there's two types. You've got dry, which means they're basically the way they came out of the ocean.
Yep.
And then you got wet. So they've been treated with a chemical that actually absorbs water. Okay. And then that absorbs a bit of weight, and so they cheat on their weight a little bit. So you really want the dry ones, and what they put in there is a thing called tripolyphosphate, which doesn't sound cool, and you don't want that in your scallops. So go with the dry ones.
That's good to know.
All I'm going to do is a big cast iron pan, a little bit of butter, and then a little bit of olive oil.
Well, you know, I know that if you go to a fishmonger, you would ask for dry, but if you're actually not going to a fishmonger, would it be labeled?
It should be labeled, and if not, you'll kind of see this like blue liquid coming out of the wet ones.
Okay.
Right, and now that does keep them fresh a little bit longer, but I just like them dry. So go to know your fishmonger. I have a friend by the name of Johnny, and he's been my monger. I've known him since high school.
Wow.
I would invite him over for scallops.
Right. Johnny gets to come for the
Johnny and I get along, and he knows the good stuff. But if you get to know your fishmonger, you can ask those questions.
Yes.
And it won't be invasive, and you can have a bit more of a conversation and kind of know how to get the real stuff.
Okay.
So these are cooking away quite nicely. They're looking beautiful. We want to spring forward. We want to get those like summer flavors going on. Yeah. So this is a really quick, simple, easy thing. What we're going to do is a little bit of white wine, and we're just going to chuck it in there. A little bit of shallots chopped up, and I couldn't find any fresh peas because we're not quite there.
Yeah.
But it's okay to use your imagination. Yeah, these are fresh peas, right? Because we're in springtime now. They're fresh peas. Listen, the frozen peas can be just as good, right?
Right.
So we're going to add that in, and then just like let that come up to a boil, a little bit more wine, and then where we're going to get the real green and the real spring flavor. You know what that is, Trace?
Mint.
You want to smell that? Yeah. Almost like, oh, you can kind of feel the islands calling now, the mojitos, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So we just add that in, and basically you just want to like simmer that down for maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Lovely. And you're going to make a nice puree there. I didn't give them the title of the recipe because it's like 16 words long.
We do have a few more minutes before we turn the scallops.
Hand-seared sea scallops with spring pea puree confit and tomatoes and frisee.
Wow, that sounds nice. That's like, I got a Tinder date.
Basically this, yeah, you were impressing somebody tonight.
Yes, exactly.
I just want to talk about the scallops for a second. When you put those on, were you at a fairly high heat?
Yeah, almost a smoking point.
Almost a smoking point, and you just leave it?
Just leave it. You want to leave that crust, and you want to really sear them in there, right?
All right.
And I mean, like, you don't want it over smoking. You don't want the fire department showing up and ruining your date.
It's just embarrassing.
So yeah, and then it's just like, it's going to be a nice caramelization. So that'll just kind of cook it through as we go.
Okay.
So then what we have to do is the tomato confit. All right, so this is kind of spring too. The first like little baby tomatoes come in. I'm going to show you a little trick because normally you'd put these in the oven. They take like half an hour. Yeah. Where I'm going to do them on the stovetop. Only because you can keep a little bit more control of them on the stovetop. What we're going to do is a little bit of olive oil, the tomatoes, right? And then we're going to put a little bit of garlic in there, right? And then just give me some salt and pepper in there too, Trace. And then what you're going to do is set it down on a dead low heat. And what's going to happen is you just kind of want to dry it out and you want to intensify all those flavors.
Yep.
So we give it a toss and that's it. So we put it on low heat and it just kind of bubbles away, right? And so as it cooks down, the flesh of the tomatoes will stay there and then it'll kind of give you this flavor. But if you let that go for like 10, 15 minutes, this is what you get.
That's lovely.
And like this is pretty gorgeous. You kind of want that color. But what you're really after here is a dressing for the salad. So we're just going to a little bit more olive oil, right? And just, we're kind of making our dressing right inside the tomatoes.
Oh,
lemon
nice.
juice.
Yeah.
Going to stir that up. So then we're going to go to the plate.
Okay.
We take our mint puree that we kind of pureed up.
So this was this.
This was that, 5 minutes later. And it's just this smooth kind of like, oh, spring is finally here.
Lovely.
We're going to do this, right, the top. And then, you know.
And it's all about the plating.
Give it one of those, right?
One day I'm going to learn how to do that Randy Feltis
That was really
style.
complicated, wasn't it? With
It
a spoon,
just art,
you know.
is what it was.
Come on, it wasn't that bad. So then we get our tomatoes, and this is what we're really after here. See this juice right down at the bottom there? That is the good stuff. So that goes in to our greens. I put a little bit of parsley in there, a little bit of mint, right? And we're just going to kind of shake that up a little bit. Chuck in a little bit more chives.
Nice.
And
very
just
fresh.
before we plate and get a little crazy, you see the crust there? Oh, everyone's like, I'm getting hungry.
I feel like if this was my house, the fire department would be here by now.
No, the fire department's nowhere close. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We get our greens down, right?
Cityline.tv for this recipe.